In designing our first character for our shop, I drew a bunch of little sketches. One night I was up late drawing in bed a little fairy character, just kind of feeling it out and drawing the character line by line, just trying to see what felt good. I came across this particular hairstyle that kind of looked like an apple. And so I proposed the idea of naming our characters after fruit. So with the idea of naming the characters after fruits, or specifically apples, Opal is a type of apple. And Opal actually inspired her color palette. Opals being a kind of yellowish apple when they're ripe. And then the jewel itself also having a kind of teal speckling is how she ended up getting her color palette. And then because we're native, she had to be native too. Although no, I don't know how much of that comes across. I see Opal as a leader of fun, that when other people are feeling down or having doubts about their own abilities, that she'll come around, not even trying to be inspiring or helpful, just by nature of her personality, the level of charm that she exudes. She helps people. It's not always from a perspective of this person needs help, I need to go administer whatever kind of tincture or potion or whatever that's going to help them. It's more a matter of like spiritual healer. I see her as someone who is very much about living in the moment. Like maybe she has goals and plans or hopes and dreams for the future, but she's excited about seeing what we can do now. Almost a mascot for the best you can do is what you can do right now. I think that through the drawings that I've done for Opal so far, it's easy to try to peg her as a clumsy person, but I've never seen it as her being clumsy so much as things have a habit of getting away from her. So there is one of the character stickers we've done where she's carrying a stack of books, and the stack is precariously stacked. It's about to topple over, and she's very quickly losing control. The intention was to be efficient. The execution of it was poorly thought out. And as I said before, she is an advocate for the best you can do is what you can do right now. What she could do right now was try to carry them all at once. So there's good intentions, but not necessarily a lot of foresight. And I think these are aspects that I pulled from my sisters. So for Opal, her dress is reminiscent of a flower. I think later I adjusted the design to make it look like a particular kind of flower, though at the moment I don't recall what flower that was. I'm certain it was yellow. I want to say it was a lily. She has a lily inspired dress. She has a frilly petticoat that starts short in the front, goes long in the back, and then ends in this strange, unruly, curly cue of a tail. I'm not for sure where the tail came from. It seemed like a whimsical element that I'd add to her, and then later would try to fashion into the other fairies' designs. Didn't always work. Actually, I think after Pippin, it kind of disappeared because not everybody had the same kind of tail on their costume. So each of the characters actually has a full character sheet that I pulled the details from. A version of them where I draw them in full detail because that's just how I am. And then their introduction was through their chibi form in the character stickers, a simplified version of them that have exaggerated proportions to try to display an image, a theme, an idea, an action in a very small form with little detail. One, for the sake of quickness. Two, for the sake of their size. They're not printed very big, so they can't have a whole lot of detail. And then that's also a bunch of wasted effort if I try to put that kind of detail in something that you're just never going to see. Because, I mean, who's going to take the time to look at a little 1/2 by 1/2 character sticker to see all the stitching in their moccasin? So the difficulty is that there are a lot of small details that I added to, let's say, Opal's design. So Opal has these fingerless gloves that she wears that very often I forget to draw or include. In some way or form, there's always some kind of justification as to why she's not wearing them in any given scene. And, you know, they're clothes that don't necessarily need to be worn every single day at every single moment. And often they are drawn in different clothes. In particular, any winter scene features them, all of them in sweaters or beanies. So their clothes change, just like anybody else's. They each have a set of pajamas. Anyway, the point is that the glove has these small details about a ribbon tied around her wrist. And you're not going to be able to see that in a character sticker that's a 1/2 by 1/2. So when I do get an opportunity to draw them at full size, in full detail, it's hard to remember everything. Chibi form is super simple. The difficulty lies in trying to draw a new character without having an idea of what their detailed form looks like. Opal's chibi form doesn't have a corset, but her full detail form does. Now, with this new year, Opal's chibi does have her corset back. I think she had the corset in the first set of character stickers that I did. I think it was a detail that was obscured by the action she was performing. And so in referencing that one, I forgot that it was there and just omitted it from the others. But as I draw every day, my inclination towards a certain level of detail has shifted and changed. And that happens with every artist who draws the same thing all the time. The way you represent a given detail will be modified and shifted. It'll change over time to become either more efficient or more, I want to say, emotionally resonant. It'll become more effective at portraying this particular element of the costume that nobody's aware of but you. And as you draw over and over again, you learn where certain lines are more effective than others, where you can pull back on the detail in this one area to put it somewhere else. And it's a matter of managing effort and managing time, because time rules everything. So now that we have all 5 characters out, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how I'm able to mirror what Opal does against what the others do. So the entire intention of releasing multiple characters is to help build their personalities through images. So we have a particular theme about one thing, and we get to see how Opal tackles a given theme. How does Opal celebrate with fireworks? Actually, we're going to go with that one. I like the fireworks theme. New Year's Eve fireworks specifically, where an Opal is doing a kind of twirling spin with sparklers, and it leaves behind this trail of light behind her, versus someone like Pippin, who is patiently waiting for her sparkler to burn out while very close to the ground. You see how much more carefree Opal is about celebrating and finding fun in the moment. It's not to say Pippin's a stick in the mud who can't appreciate fireworks and the joy of celebrating the new year with friends, but to show that she's more carefree. So I'm looking forward to new themes that we explore, themes that we re-explore now that all 5 characters are out. It's a lot more work for me, but it's fun to try to explore them. And it's fun to try to explore these characters through a visual form as opposed to telling a story with words.